Hey, you guys, this is Amber with Amber Poetry and Song, and I'm coming with another vision that I had. This was on December 6th as well, 2022 at 8:48. I saw a guy chill with someone that I know, my stepdad's godson. I'm not going to say his name, but his godson in this vision, and he looked younger in this vision, how I knew him to look when he was younger, cuddling him in a father son way. And so I looked up 848. It means himself, them. His name means the dark one when you look up his name, and he's also a twin. So this could be concerning him, or it could be someone else who has twins, and their name means the dark one, or yeah, their name means the dark one. So I'm going to read the scripture first. I was led to John chapter 9, verses 19 to 34. It says, I'm going to start at 18. It says, but the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. And they asked them, saying, is this your son, who ye say was born blind? How then doth he now see? His parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son and that he was born blind. It says, but by what means he now seeth, we know not, or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him. He shall speak for himself. These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. Then again called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. Then said they to him again, what did he to thee? How opened he thine eyes? He answered them, I have told you already, and ye did not hear. Wherefore would ye hear it again? Will ye also be his disciples? Then they reviled him and said, thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spake unto Moses, as for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. The man answered and said unto them, why, herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. Since the world began, was it not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was blind? If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. Verse 34 says, they answered and said unto him, thou wast altogether born in sins, and dost thou teach us? And they cast him out. Them Jews was something. Okay, so basically, that's the only scripture I have, but I believe the vision is showing that this twin had an encounter with the Lord at a very young age. And he may be of age now, but he's had an encounter with the Lord at a very young age, to ask him, and he will tell you himself what that is, and that he is loved by God despite the meaning to his name or his reputation that's attached to his name. Because I find that your name has a lot to do with how your life turns out sometimes. Um, but there may have been, you know, he may have had a certain type of reputation, may have been a problem child, something of that nature. Only know in part and prophesy in part. But this is what the Lord showed me, and that he is loved by God despite, you know, what he has done in the past, or the reputation that's attached to his name. And to ask him, because he had an encounter with the Lord at a very young age. Only he knows what that is. That you would have to ask him what that encounter, what happened in that encounter. And so basically, this is the Lord's child. And so that's it for this word. I'll be back with another word. See you later, and goodbye.